But every decision that we have made, every decision that we will make in the future, will be made with working people in our mind's eye.
Starmer disgraced himself again and showed his true face. Of course, as usual, he tried to be a hypocrite and put on the mask of a good person and pretend that everything was fine, but he did not succeed. It's a complete failure. You've never seen him so disgusting. We're starting to watch.
I said on the steps of Downing Street, the day after the election, that this would be a government for the working people of this country. That when the cameras stopped rolling, when that black door closed, we would carry their hopes and aspirations with us. That the basic, completely reasonable desire to want a better future for your family would become the driving purpose of this government. Now, I will never stand here and tell you to feel better.
We all remember how he stabbed us in the back and said that some of us did not fit the definition of a working person. But many people believe that being a landlord is a passive role that just makes easy money with little to no effort. But in fact, it requires constant effort, time, and the ability to adapt, especially when combined with work. It seemed to me a manifestation of ignorance and stupidity. Real estate is a people-oriented business, and communicating with others helps you keep up to date on how to constantly improve. If it doesn't count as work, then I'm not sure what counts.
But every decision that we have made, every decision that we will make in the future, will be made with working people in our mind's eye. People who've been working harder and harder for years just to stand still. People doing the right thing, maybe still finding a little bit of money to put away, paying their way, even in the cost of living crisis. But who feel that this country no longer gives them or their children a fair chance. People stuck on an NHS waiting list, whose town centre is blighted by antisocial behaviour, who can't afford to buy a place that they can call home, or can't afford the home they have because of the mortgage bombshell.
Starmer pretends to be trying to solve the problem of low housing construction in the UK. Labour has promised a revolution and the construction of 1.5 million new homes before the next general election in 2029. He wants to lift planning restrictions in England to encourage private sector development. Since 1977, more than 300,000 homes a year have not been built in the UK, the annual average that Starmer is aiming for, and about half of them were built by municipalities. Last year, 189,260 homes were built in the UK, of which about three-quarters were in the private sector. Starmer utters meaningless platitudes. Words don't build houses. Starmer's attempts to revive housing construction will require greater financial strength and devolution of powers to Westminster. Since 1997, 25 housing ministers have been replaced in the UK, with the last 10 on average having served in office for less than 9 months.
People like that video that we've just watched, the people we changed the Labour Party to serve. I know some people want to have a debate about this, and I know there will always be the exception that proves the rule. Welcome to the wonders of a diverse country. But I also know that the working people of this country know exactly who they are, and that they are the golden thread that runs through our agenda. Every single one of our national missions is about delivering for them. And we're getting on with the job.
Starmer became the first Prime Minister whose ratings have fallen so rapidly since coming to power in early July. No one has shown such a sad rating. For comparison, Tony Blair reached 46 points in 1997 in 3 months in power. The statistics of David Cameron, who was in power from 2010 to 2016, did not fall so dynamically. This drop is explained by the cancellation of fuel payments, early release of convicts and scandalous gifts. He still has the audacity, after all his scandals, to snap and be aggressive towards the people. People with disabilities have long feared that a Labour government would treat them no better than a Conservative one. And so far, Starmer's team has done nothing to prove otherwise. Rachel Reeves plans to cut sick pay to help people get back to work, because death from starvation is obviously an incentive. He shouldn't get away with lying.
And look, Nobody wants higher taxes, just like nobody wants public spending cuts. But we have to be realistic about where we are as a country. This is not 1997, when the economy was decent, but public services were on their knees. And it's not 2010, where public services were strong, but the public finances were weak. We have to deal with both sides of that coin. These are unprecedented circumstances. But the budget the Chancellor will deliver on Wednesday will prevent devastating austerity in our public services.
Starmer has said many times that he will defend tax increases all day long. So why does our Prime Minister, who usually keeps everything a secret, give a big speech a few days before the budget announcement, which he cannot tell us about? He was annoyed by accusations that he was reneging on campaign promises to protect working people. And he's just setting the stage. The budget plans to raise taxes by a whopping £35 billion. Inheritance and capital gains taxes will rise, as will the social security tax paid by employers. Currently, pensions are not considered part of your estate after your death, which means you don't have to pay inheritance tax on them. But some suggest that Labour may change this situation, which could worsen the situation of grieving families by tens of thousands of pounds.
That purpose also runs through the priorities we set out in our manifesto. The national missions, which capture the hope working people have for the future of our country. And look, there's a paradox in politics at the moment. All around the world, traditional values, democratic values, values that have underpinned the way countries like ours have operated for years, the pragmatism that is part of our identity, it's under attack. Why? Because people, working people most of all, have lost faith it can still deliver for their family.
The Labour Party manifesto says, "We will ensure the lowest possible level of taxes for working people. The union will not raise taxes for working people, so we will not raise taxes on social security, basic, increased or additional income tax or VAT rates. An increase in income tax for employers will disrupt Labour's election programme." The ministers stated that working people would not notice any changes due to the increase in taxes in the budget on VAT, social insurance and income tax. Labour is lying to us about its plans. It's the worst form of fraud.
After all, we have 5 years and a big mandate. So working people will not accept any excuses. They want to see us build 1.5 million homes, make sure a record number of children start school ready to learn, raise living standards so there's more cash in their pockets, restore confidence that crime will be punished, guaranteed neighbourhood policing in every community, make sure our energy system is more secure by harnessing clean British energy, accelerating towards net zero. And on our NHS, they want us to cut waiting times dramatically to meet the 18-week target that is still the best benchmark of an NHS that's back on its feet, facing the future, and once more, a beacon of pride to the world.
The Labour Party must ensure that the 1.5 million new homes it plans to build are low carbon and built on abandoned land. Otherwise, it risks causing even more damage to an already fragile environment. There is an urgent need to build new houses, but they will not be able to improve people's lives if we build poorly insulated, poorly constructed and expensive to operate boxes in sterile areas devoid of nature. The Labour Party did not answer the question of whether the new houses would be equipped with solar panels, heat pumps and high-quality insulation, as well as whether they would be connected to the gas network. Labour's plans will include the development of some areas that are currently considered green zones, although the party declined to say how large-scale the development will be. The Labour Party insists that most of the current green zones are actually grey zones, that is, they have already been degraded due to various types of development in the past, or are located next to infrastructure, for example, transport. What do you think about this video? Share your thoughts in the comments. See you.